Okay. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Why can't I view it? Why can't I do that? Okay. I think I can see everything now. Awesome. All right, how's everybody doing? We're going to wait a little bit longer before we start. We're essentially going to be doing the GDI campaign as we talk a little bit about the channel and answer any questions you guys might have. Ugh. Okay. All right, we're gonna start the campaign right away, and we'll just wait for more people to join. Hello, Luke Danger.
Punch up the main street.
If I am cut, do I not bleed? It'd be a sad error in judgment, General Solomon, to mistake me for a corpse.
My judgment is sound, Kane, and I'm not afraid of ghosts or you.
Perhaps you should be. I've seen the future. Our Tiberian future. And as you watch this battle just beginning to unfold, I've already seen the final act. It is my destiny to lead the way for all mankind.
Mankind has forgotten you, Kane.
Signal, sir. It's in the southwest.
Get me, McNeil.
Oh man, I miss this vision of the future. Hello, Mark K. Appreciate you getting up at 4 a.m.
General Solomon on secure channel 4.
Good to see you again, Mac. I wish it were under better circumstances.
Guys, it's Ava from Red Alert 2.
More than that, it's Kane. Sir? We lost contact with Phoenix at 0800 Zulu. I'm not losing that base, Mac. I'll give you a squad of our best jump troopers to clear the way for your arrival.
Appreciate you, Recon 1.
Good luck, Commander.
Sorry you couldn't make it. I'll try to... Hopefully my streams can be at better times in the future that you can get to. Mayday Parade. Does anybody know what Mayday Parade is? I don't know off the top of my head. Alright, here we go. Gosh. Iconic opening. Iconic. Oh, nice, Recon 1. Hope you have a good time. Oh, gosh.
It's not, sir. They came out of nowhere. We have to get back to the base and rebuild the refinery and barracks before they hit us again.
Oh. Alright, can everybody see the stream alright? Nothing's cropped weirdly. You can see the whole screen.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Sir, moving out. Loud and clear.
Also, Luke Danger. Yeah, you're right. There is a bit of continuity with the helmets. I've learned to love Command & Conquer 3. It's very hard for me to hate it, as much as I do have problems with them moving away from the vision for Tiberian Sun. It's just... I can't stay mad at it, you know? What else did Luke Danger say? Forgot that Nod opens up the GDI campaign gunning down civilians. I mean, they often do. That's par for the course for CNC. I think we talked about in my last Red Alert video about how the Soviet campaign begins with them gunning down a village of unarmed civilians, and Nod does that. It's just... That's one thing I liked about early CNC. They weren't afraid to make their bad guys bad guys. Just unapologetically ruthless. Yeah, no, there's black bars on my left and right, too. That's just because I've got a modern monitor, and this is an old game. Still waiting for that remaster. Ugh. I remember as a kid, I always wished that I could build these towers and skirmishes. And I think you can if you mess with the INI files, but I was never good with that.
Yes, sir.
Gosh. Just look at the GDI radar and just how, like, it looks so unique. Like, it looks completely different from the Nod radar. Nothing's copy-paste. Each faction has its own very unique art style, and I love it. Okay. Well, if you guys have any questions for me regarding the channel or CNC lore or really anything, just go ahead, feel free to put questions down in the chat. Try to keep it civil. And yeah, I'm also later on in the stream going to talk a bit more about the future of the channel, videos I'm working on, and other things like that. So stay tuned. Yeah, good point, Luke Danger. They clearly were working from the same schematics when they made the con yards and the refineries. One thing I always liked about Tiberian Dawn's lore is the idea that... Gosh, where's that coming from? Oh, up here. Is the idea that Nod basically came up with the technology for Tiberium refining first. And I always loved how, in the beginning missions of Tiberian Dawn, GDI can't make refineries until they get that technology from Nod. I just always thought that was a cool bit of gameplay, having lore spill into it. Yes, Super Challenge Bros. 5 limit for the queue. That was revolutionary at the time. You guys don't remember, but before the remaster, Red Alert 1 and Tiberian Dawn, like, I'm pretty sure you could only build one unit at a time. I might be misremembering that. It's been forever since I played the original versions of those games. Thank you very much, Snufflegrunt. I really gotta check the names before I just say them out loud. Somebody's gonna have like an incredibly racist name, and I'm just gonna say it without thinking. But appreciate you. I'm 90% sure that Snufflegrunt isn't a slur. I appreciate you having it on the stream, and yeah, no, it's been an absolute joy making these videos. Whatever else is going on in my life, if I had known that, like, 9-year-old me, that I'd be making videos about Command & Conquer, and then like, my Tiberian Sun video, I think, is at 104,000 views. If I knew that, like, 100,000 people would be tuning in to hear my opinion on my favorite game of the series at age 9, that would probably blow my mind. It pretty much blows my mind now. I never thought I'd be successful on YouTube, and I know this is, like, very minor success in the grand scheme of things, but I was literally just doing this for fun and didn't think anything would come of it. It was pretty much just making these videos for myself more than anything. Alright, what do we got here? Ah, yes, Super Challenge Bros. That's Aussie. He's in the chat. He's a friend of the channel. I've actually helped them on some of their videos. They mostly do Nintendo stuff. But he has confirmed, yes, Red Alerts only had 1 unit you could build at a time. Back in my day, we could only build 1 unit, and we liked it. Oh, interesting. Snufflegrunt says that you can actually increase the unit cap in the ini files. Gotcha. Oh, man. I've played so much of this game as a kid. I must have played the GDI Nod campaigns for this over and over and over again. There were periods where, like, this was all I played. Looking at Luke Danger's new comment. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's I'm trying to keep that going forward. There's a lot of other things I could be going into as far as content for videos, but I'm kind of just sticking to what I want to talk about, which kind of led to the Brotherhood of Nod video, which, by the way, super fun. Probably the most research I've done for a video. Most of the videos have been pretty much just whatever my off-the-cuff feelings about that game were. But the Nod video definitely took a good amount of research. Oh, I love this part. Just apropos of nothing, a meteor storm. Just the idea that, like, this is a normal occurrence. The atmosphere of Earth is clearly weakened to the point that meteors can just make it through, like huge meteors on a regular interval. And I just love the amount of storytelling that's done without even having to tell you. That show don't tell. It's just, there's so much that this game gets right when it comes to atmosphere that I don't think it gets enough credit for. And I get it. You're living in a world where StarCraft is, you know, absolutely killing it in its area. So, but my gosh. Super Challenge Brother says, Snowman, when are you going to bring me back to the channel? Good question. It'd have to be a game that we both really like, and we definitely have a lot of differing kinds of games that we like. You generally like more sports games and multiplayer games and stuff like that, whereas I'm definitely a single-player guy. I've been wanting to make a second channel for a while now. That's so I can move all of the Let's Play and walkthrough stuff to that channel, and then this channel will primarily be for the video essays, which I hope to do stuff other than Command & Conquer as well, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Oh, here's the Tiberian Dawn structures, which as a kid, I hadn't played Tiberian Dawn when I first played Tiberian Sun, so this meant nothing to me, but I imagine for people who had played it first, that would have been incredible. Alright, Snufflegrunt says, is there a reason you're playing at 64480? Nostalgia. I find that if I do a modern resolution, everything feels way too zoomed out. And at this point, I play the campaign so much that a lot of my movements for playing through the missions is muscle memory, which gets thrown off if it's at a different zoom than I played as a kid. Oh, that's so cathartic. Oh, and these cutscenes. Oh. This was so freaking cool to, like, 6-year-old me. I love that. Like, the what's coming out of the gun is coming out of the carrying handle. It's not even coming out of the barrel, and clearly dropship troopers did not have anything like a rail gun. But did I care? Absolutely not. It was the coolest thing ever. I don't care. Tiberian Sun had some of the coolest cutscenes ever. That's something I miss about modern games, is a lot of them, they have in-engine scenes, which really started with Command & Conquer Generals, and it got so good with the graphics in-game that they kind of stopped bothering to make CGI cutscenes, but I say bring them back. Before we start the next mission, I'm going to look at the chat a little bit more. Yeah, good point, Snufflegrunt. I do still have to sometimes play the algorithm. My first video essay on this channel was actually an Assassin's Creed video, specifically Assassin's Creed 3, which is my favorite game in the series. And that video, I think that video barely crossed 1,000 views. And then the Tiberian Sun video just took off, and I realized, like, oh shoot, like, people actually like hearing what I have to say about Command & Conquer. I guess I'm a Command & Conquer channel now. Again, I still want to focus on other games as well, particularly in the 90s. I'm currently working on a Commandos video essay. I went and played through all of them all over again, including the newest one, Commandos Origins, and which I am absolutely enjoying, by the way. So I hope to have some other 90s gems sprinkled in there as well with video essays. Luke Danger says, too bad the old Tiberian Dawn pavilions couldn't be captured. It'd be fun to be able to grab the old stuff in certain missions. Absolutely. You can tell that it seemed like Westwood wanted to do stuff like that because you can control the old mammoth tanks in certain missions of the game. And I'm sure if they had more time, since Tiberian Sun was a very rushed project, they would have seriously expanded on the Easter eggs if they had had more time to finish it. Apparently, they were even going to put in the Forgotten as a third faction, and Cabal as a full faction in the Firestorm expansion pack, but they just didn't have the time, which has always been a real shame and a what-if for me.
Nice job, McNeil. Nod is on the run, and I wish we could say the same for Phoenix. We just recovered this transmission.
Smile for the camera, Commander. We must look our best when the Brotherhood comes to visit. The least you could do is wear a tie.
That drug-dealing animal is...
King of the eye candy trade. He's been dealing that poison for years.
Looks to me like he's his own best customer.
Gosh,
Get
I
back
love
there,
Michael Biehn.
Take out the SAM sites, then destroy the Nod base. The Ava unit has the data.
Yeah, it looks like Snufflegrunt said a lot of what I already just said. Super Challenge Brother says, Snowman, were you able to get your hands on the first-person Commandos game? I was. For those of you who don't know, in between Commandos 3 and when Pyro Studios closed down, they made a first-person Commandos game called Commandos Strike Force, and it was very hard to get my hands on that. It's not available on Steam or GOG. I actually found there's another site, marketplace, that sells it, and thankfully I didn't get a virus, and I played through all of it and recorded myself playing through all of it, so I hope to do a video essay on that someday. I actually ended up enjoying it more than I thought I would. Luke Danger... Yeah, Tempest Rising did do CGI cutscenes. I played every single demo for Tempest Rising. I've been following that game's development. I have not had a chance to get to buy the game and play it myself just yet. I've been too busy playing through Commandos Origins. But I would like to play through it some more. I definitely enjoyed the time I had with it and in the skirmishes, and I'd love to play more with the D-Train as well. Hopefully I can record that. Yeah, Tempest Rising is out.
The Nod forces that attacked our Phoenix base are in this sector. Their base must be destroyed in order to secure the region. However, there is a significant civilian population requiring evacuation. GDI transports will evacuate the civilians once all Nod SAM sites are destroyed. The Nod base can then be safely terminated.
Question for you guys. What's your favorite Ava voice? Mine is definitely Tiberian Sun's. I think that's the perfect voice. It sounds robotic enough, but not too robotic, and not too human. I think it's perfect. Curious on what your guys' call is. Do you like seeing C3's Ava unit better, or Tiberian Dawn's Ava? I know a lot of people have nostalgia for Tiberian Dawn's Ava voice. I can't believe they got back the original voice actress for the remaster so she could re-record her lines for Ava in Tiberian Dawn remaster. Unfortunately, the voice for the Ava unit, the British guy in Red Alert 1, had already passed away. But I didn't even notice any lower audio quality, so I guess like his old recordings were still good enough.
Sir, on my way.
Let's go.
New construction options.
Luke Danger here talking about Tempest Rising.
Construction complete.
Yeah, I do. I noticed that they treat Tempest a little bit differently. It actually does damage to vehicles because of its electromagnetic properties, as opposed to harming infantry like Tiberian does.
New construction options.
Snufflegrunt says Tiberian Dawns personally. The sound design in CNC3 is meh and an otherwise amazing game. Yeah, no, Tiberian Dawn's choice for Ava, that's a solid choice. I never really liked Nod's Eva voice in Command & Conquer 3. I think it sounds too human. Cabal is just perfect in Tiberian Sun. And I feel like if they had done something closer to that, that would have been nice. I know lore-wise it's not Cabal anymore, but I just don't think Nod's Eva unit in Command & Conquer 3 sounds menacing enough. Luke Danger says, favorite Eva? Tiberian Sun is definitely my favorite for the Tiberian games, but I'll admit I actually kind of like the Tiberian Twilight one as well. I can't remember what Ava sounds like in Tiberian Twilight. I assume that's what you mean by TT. I'll have to look that up again. I just played that again recently. I know we're all supposed to pretend like that game doesn't exist, but it's a live stream. We can relax the rules for a bit. That's my favorite thing about the Command & Conquer subreddit, is we all just collectively like have agreed to pretend that that game doesn't exist, and that's kind of the funniest thing in the world to me. I just love that as a community we all collectively agreed, no, this one doesn't count. Oh, we got a new guy. Panzer1509. Hey, loved your videos, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. There certainly are a lot of other CNC videos out there, so I appreciate you taking the time to watch mine. Shoot. Let's back up here.
Base under attack.
Sorry, I'm a little behind on the chat, guys. Snufflegrunt says, lore-wise, I'm surprised that Nod didn't have a human Ava in CNC3 given the lore. What do you mean by that? Just like because of how beaten down they were after the events of Tiberian Sun? Like, is that what you're saying? Like they wouldn't be able to afford a mechanical Eva? Aussie says he'll definitely give Tempest Rising a try. Snufflegrunt says even EA pretends that Tiberian Twilight doesn't exist. Apparently they still support it. It's a lot easier to get the account in there and still play the game. Honestly, it's probably one of those situations of like, oh, I hate you, Tiberian Twilight, whereas EA is just like, really? I haven't thought about this Command & Conquer franchise at all. Yeah. Luke Danger says, though immediately the Tiberian Twilight GDI Ava is probably the same voice actress as the Empire of the Rising Sun in the RA3, which might help. And yeah, the Tiberian Twilight joke is funny, though Tiberian Twilight did have some cool concepts. It did. That game made me very mad when it came out because it ended the story horribly, but I'm not going to pretend like I don't have some positive feelings about that game. I did enjoy it somewhat when I played it the first time. Yeah. Any strong feelings I say about that game are mostly in jest, and anything that is serious is mostly about the story and the fact that there's, no base building, which would have been fine for a spin-off game like EALA initially intended, but EA made them turn it into a full game and the end of the Tiberian saga, so yeah, EA sucks. Panzer1509 says, I always have a couple of Command & Conquer games installed in case the internet is down. Good man, good man. Yeah, I miss the days when every single game didn't have to be connected to the internet.
Training.
Snuffle Grunt. Yeah, I meant that Nod would essentially have learned after Cabal. Many people not distrust AI. Yeah, no, that's another good point. That was one thing I did really like in Kane's Wrath with, not Killian, the other one. I think it's Alexa Kovacs, I think is her name. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I played Kane's Wrath. But she has, like, an inherent distrust of Cabal, because I think her backstory is that her family was wiped out by Cabal during the Firestorm Crisis. And I thought that was really cool that that lended into her during the Tiberian Wars era, not trusting Legion. As much as CNC 3 and its expansion were limited by the engine, the Sage engine, I liked that whoever was making it, EALA, clearly did have respect for the previous games and tried to connect it as much as they could. I know there's some people that say, like, oh, I don't like CNC 3. To me, it's not canon. I feel enough love behind the people that made Command & Conquer 3 that I still consider it a part of the canon. Because for me, that's really what I respect the most. Is like, was it a labor of love? Did you love the games that come before? All right, then you get a pass. Aussie telling Panzer that's smart. Aussie also saying, especially since every game seems... Yep, I just said that. Panzer says, do you guys remember if there's a way to play RA3 co-op in this day and age? Yeah, no, I played a ton of co-op RA3 with the D-Train. You might remember him. He's a friend of the channel. He's on some of our Fortnite videos. I want to involve him, and he's also on all of the Indiana Jones Let's Plays, which again will be moved to the other channel soon. If you guys should check out the Indiana Jones videos if that's your thing. The D-Train's a very funny guy, and I want to do more stuff with him, including some stuff with video essays, because we also played through all of Far Cry 5 co-op together, and he's got a lot of thoughts on that one, so I'd love to do a video essay on Far Cry 5 with him. I think that would be super, super fun. But yeah, there is a way to play RA3 co-op. I think you can do it through CNCnet. It's kind of a fan server. It works pretty well, and it's super fun. Oh, we got number one rival. New guy in the chat says, at least Twilight is better than Legions, which isn't saying much. The bar is through the basement, guys. Good grief. Do you guys remember? It wasn't E3, but it was like the Summer Games Fest, I think it was. Or maybe it was E3. I can't remember how long ago it was when Legions was announced. And, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was Legions. I'm trying to remember. It was one of the mobile Command & Conquers, and when that was announced, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Command & Conquer showing up!" And like, "Oh, psych! It's a mobile game." Just like, good grief. That was our Diablo Immortals moment, guys. If you guys catch that reference. Snufflegrunt says, totally agree. It's not my sort of game, but the story is 6 out of 5 out of 10. I assume you're talking about Tiberian Twilight, which I would rate the story even lower. But that's also because I'm a very emotional man, and I carry grudges. Cabal Core. Somebody rang. Good to have you in the chat, Cabal Core. You know, I feel like everything with Cabal has become more relevant with the rise of AI. Even if the AI isn't self-aware yet. Luke Danger says, Alexa Kovacs was the Kane's Wrath lady that hated Cabal. Oh boy, speak of the devil. Howdy. I am getting a kick out of hearing Cabal's voice say howdy in the Cabal voice. That is just hilarious concept to me. Alright, keep you guys here. Oh, we can build the component towers. Nice. Okay. Listen to the sounds of your own extinction. Gosh. Cabal had so many killer lines. Like, they did not... Westwood did not have to go that hard with their... Basically, their version of the Terminator story, but they totally did, and they delivered. Panzer says, first stream I've caught, I'm afraid. Well, this is... I mean, first stream of mine, or first stream ever? Because this is my first stream ever. Let's see. Cabal says, my heart was truly broken that day when they announced CNC Mobile. We all were, buddy. We all were. Okay. Luke says, I think the only good thing from Legions was the announcement trailer having a zone enforcer, I think, using jump jets to leap off a transport. Yeah, it had some cool cutscenes. I'll give him that. Panzer says, interesting cinematic trailer, and then the mobile rug pull with Legion. Yeah, they do that a lot. Cabal, you darn tootin'. Is Cabal from the south in this alternate universe? He was programmed by a Texan. I'm not mocking you, by the way. I love it. I love it. Snufflegrunt says, I feel similarly about Tiberian Twilight, but as much as it pains me to say it, Joker-Can absolutely wrecks in that game. It's easily the most varied portrayal of Kane. Oh, I agree. If you guys have seen my video on the Brotherhood of Nod, it's the newest video on the channel, I absolutely adore that line where he tells them that, you know, when I was here last, you were living in caves. And like he says it with such disdain for the human race. And I just, Kane just can't not give a stellar performance. Or Joker can, sorry. I get them mixed up. They're basically the same person. Let's see. Number one Rival says, I've mostly been playing CNC fan mods, Dawn of the Tiberian Age, Twisted Insurrection, OpenRA Combined Arms, and a lot of CNC Renegade mods, including the recently released Apocalypse Rising. Nice. Yeah, I've been recently getting into mods too. I'm currently playing a CNC mod. Sorry, a Tiberian Sun mod. I'm trying to remember what it's called. I think it's Twisted Insurrection. A lot of people have talked about that one. A lot of people have also asked me to do video essays on the mods, and I am a little reluctant to do that because there's still so much to explore with the main universe. If I do ever end up doing that, I really want to wait until I've exhausted a lot more of the current lore. Yeah. So to everybody here, just want to remind you, this is basically a Q&A, so anything you want to ask me about the channel, future videos, CNC lore, feel free to ask. I'm also going to be talking about future videos going forward in a little bit, as well as the second channel and some of the other partners that have been helping me out. So again, feel free to ask whatever. Now's your chance. As you've no doubt seen, I try my best to answer as many comments as I can in the channel. But I missed some, and I don't always have time to elaborate. Here I can do it in real time, so take advantage. By the way, you guys are awesome. Like, the CNC community is a really great community. Very respectful, very fun, very passionate. There's a lot of other toxic communities out there in different fandoms and franchises, so I am glad that I seem to have struck a chord with the Command & Conquer community, because having been a part of it myself for so long, it's, I don't know, it feels nice. Maybe you guys can understand this, but like, growing up, being able to tell people like, hey, I'm a fan of video games, which at least at the time was kind of a niche hobby, and then have to say, what kind of games you like playing? It's like Halo, you know, Call of Duty, which I do still love, but like, no, RTS is my absolute favorite. And they're like, oh, I don't really know what that is. Is it like StarCraft? And you're like, no, it's Command & Conquer. It just, it feels like a niche of a niche of a niche in a lot of ways. And then even then, if you talk about Command & Conquer, people are going to think about the later ones like Generals or CNC3, which again, I still love. It's like, what's your favorite game? Tiberian Sun. Alright. Let's see, we got some of the chats. Let's see what we got here. Aussie is saying, whenever you mention caves, I'm reminded of Obadiah Staines. Tony did it in a cave with a box of scraps. Have you guys watched Iron Man recently? That movie holds up so well.
Yes, sir.
Also, I'm going to save. Or maybe not. We won't save. We'll save later. Okay, Panzer1509 says, you ever explored the similarities between certain mechanics in Battle for Middle-earth 1 and Battle for Middle-earth 2 and Command & Conquer 3? I've actually never played the Battle for Middle-earth games. I really, really want to, because I'm not going to say I'm a full Tolkien nerd. I am definitely more of a Narnia man myself, but and definitely a Star Wars guy. 100% a Star Wars guy. But I have not gotten around to playing the Middle-earth games. I really don't know how, because I think with licensing issues, they're not on all like the major stores, at least as far as I'm aware. So if you guys know of a way to play the Middle-earth games nowadays without, you know, too much pirating, if at all possible, I would love to play that, because that just sounds amazing to me. One of the things this is a tangent, but one of the things I do lament about the Lord of the Rings movies and the books is that most of it is humans fighting, and I feel like we're just missing out on the coolness that would be a bunch of dwarves and elves and everything else fighting. It's just it's mostly humans and orcs, which reminds me of Warcraft. Let's get two of these guys. What else do we have here? If you could rewrite Tiberian Twilight, what would you change? Do? Good question, Snufflegrunt. First off, I think everybody agrees on this. Bring the frickin' Skrin back. You know, let's bring the Skrin back and have an invasion of them a second time around. I would say bring back a lot of other factions. Have Cabal come back. Have the Forgotten come back. Make the red zones actually feel like red zones, like the Firestorm Genesis Pit. I'm not opposed to some of the ideas in Tiberian Twilight, like the idea of a Tiberian control network and Kane basically twisting GDI to help him, and Threshold Towers being part of his ultimate plan. I'm okay with the idea of Kane being an alien and just trying to get home, but if it were completely up to me, I would love the idea if his final plan had more to do with him being like the literal biblical Kane. Just because I think that's just incredibly epic, the idea that we have these sci-fi alien Tiberium and walkers and mechs and underground units, and then in the middle of it all we have the enigma that is Kane that might just actually be straight up a biblical figure with supernatural abilities. I don't know, I find that incredibly cool. Panzer says you forgot old. I don't know what that's in reference to. Cabal says, what is your favorite AI in a video game? Your answer will be judged. If you watch my video on the RTS genre and immersive sims, you'll know I've started playing a little bit of the System Shock games. Very hard to revisit. Very old mechanics. So Shodan's always a cool AI in video games. Obviously, I'm a CNC channel. I played CNC since I was a kid. Like, Cabal is probably always going to be at the top of my answer. But if I had to pick another one, let's see, in video games, you might have to list some other AIs because I'm not thinking of a lot of them off the top of my head. I'm probably forgetting some really good ones. Luke says, any word on the next stage of the Nod analysis? There's a lot of fun stuff to unpack there. Yes. I think that one's been pushed a little bit to the back burner. We're more likely to get the next Commandos video essay and the Red Alert 2 video essay out first because that's just a lot easier. It requires a lot less research and is something that I can kind of just give my thoughts and crank out a script pretty quickly. But I can give you a little sneak peek on the research I have done. I've found a lot of back catalog of like the old CNC Renegade website that actually talked a bit more about Nod's recruitment process, which was very like cultish, very much like almost like self-help sort of thing to recruit people before eventually making them a part of the military. A lot of fascinating stuff there that kind of talks about how Kane would adapt to whatever era he was in. And basically, and this is something that happens with a lot of cults, even today, where they'll basically change their method and their doctrine to be whatever the environment wants to hear, whatever the audience wants to hear. And I love the idea that Kane basically does not have a set doctrine for Nod. It basically changes in whatever's going to recruit people most in whatever era. It's very doomsday cult in Tiberian Sun, but by the time you get to CNC3, it's talking more about social issues and the wealth disparity between the blue zones and the yellow zones. And I thought, like, that's such a cool aspect of Nod. I don't know if it was intentional, because obviously we started with Westwood with Tiberian Sun and eventually ELA with Tiberian Wars, but even in retrospect, very, very cool how that was all done. Let's see. Snufflegrunt says, I feel ya. It's very lonely being a CNC fan sometimes. Yeah, see? You get it. Let's get the rest of you guys home. Panzer says, it's stuck in a gray area and I don't think there's any plans for Battle for Middle-earth. Yeah. That sucks. I honestly wish there were more video games for the Middle-earth. Alright. I wish there were more video games for Tolkien's work. I feel like it's ripe for a lot of different types of video games. RTS, third-person action-adventure. I played a little bit of the Shadow of Mordor games. It just feels like there's so much more you could do for that universe in the video game space, and it feels vastly underutilized. I'd love to see a Tiberian Twilight redo fanfic video. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. Definitely wouldn't be a priority, but I could see that being a lot of fun somewhere down the line. Luke Danger, definitely would love to see your take, and I absolutely agree on Kane not being an alien, but literally from our mythology. Yeah, no, I'm surprised. I really thought I would be in the minority in liking that take, the more mythological take of Kane, but at least based on my comment section for that video and other videos, it seems like a lot of people vibe more with like biblical Kane than alien Kane. And I know, oh, what, you guys seeing this? What the frick happened? What the jellyfish happened? Okay, I'm calling BS on that. What the heck? I have played this game so much over so many years. I have never seen that happen.
Training.
Okay. I guess I'm rebuilding my army.
Unit ready.
Yeah, no, Luke Danger, good point.
Unit ready.
I guess yeah, typically I don't build that many disc throwers.
Training.
So I guess I've never seen that before because I typically build a lot more light infantry. I guess I'll start doing that from now on.
Unit ready.
Oh, there goes my Wolverines.
Unit ready.
Holy chain explosion, Batman. Gosh.
Ready.
One thing, I know a lot of people give the disc throwers a lot of crap, but like I love the idea that Nod has,
Unit
for their anti-vehicle unit, it's the Rocket Trooper that's good against vehicles and air, but terrible against infantry, and GDI has the disc throwers, which are good against infantry and vehicles, but can't shoot the air. I like the asymmetric nature of it, and as much as I love CNC3, I didn't like that both factions got a Rocket Trooper,
Unit
and I know that's kind of par for the course with the way Generals did it, but I don't know, I like the asymmetric nature. I didn't like that the alien Skrin in CNC3 had an analog structure for almost everything the other humans had. It's like, no, they should be completely different, have a completely different tech tree, and I don't know, they just seem too similar to the humans. And maybe that was because of time, but I would have liked a little more creativity with that regard.
Unit ready.
Anyway, let me back up. There's still a lot of questions I haven't seen. I'm going to back up, so I'm not getting to your present chat just yet. Oh, that stuff on Nod's recruitment is fun. I remember reading the guidance files. Yes, the guidance files. That's what it's called. The guidance files from that, which had some great stuff. I'd love to read that too as more reference. Yeah, I'm definitely looking through a lot of. I can't remember who it was. Who's? Oh, you guys. Yeah. I can't remember who it was, but there was somebody in one of my comments that alerted me to the guidance files, and I had never heard of that prior to this because I didn't grow up playing Renegade. I never got that game as a kid. That's something I only recently went back and played. Definitely an interesting game. Very different tone from the original CNCs. Panzer says, EALA developed both Battlefield for Middle-earth and Command & Conquer 3 and 4. Yes, that's right, they did. Which is why I want to play it so bad. And also, I believe Battlefield for Middle-earth was at the phase of EALA's life cycle when there was still quite a bit of Westwood staff still working at EALA. Aussie says, what games do you plan on covering on the second channel? Also, when can we expect the second channel to be born? Yeah, don't want to give you guys too much details on the crap show that is my life right now, but suffice to say there's some financial issues, so once that's sorted out and I'm more stable, that's probably when I'm going to launch the second channel. Definitely want to finish the Indiana Jones game. Even if nobody really watches it, I am having so much fun playing that together with the D-Train and bantering with him. Like, for my own enjoyment, that's just fun for me to do and relax after a long day. I also want to check out Claire Obscure because I do like an RPG, a turn-based RPG from time to time. I really like Octopath Traveler. So I might do Octopath Traveler 2, might do Claire Obscure, maybe Doom the Dark Ages. I have Game Pass, so there's a lot of games that I can just play on my Xbox and put on the channel. And then probably Tempest Rising as well, because I think you guys would like that, and that would give me time to kind of form my opinions about that game in a more leisurely pace. Luke Danger. Although admittedly on Nod's Tiberian War era, the hypocrisy is so blatant, especially Killian's recruitment pitch, or the fact that Nod is spreading Tib actively. Yes, I definitely think during the Tiberian Wars era, Nod became more sympathetic and more, like, gray than they were during the Tiberian Sun era, but they're still very much the villain, and it always makes me laugh when people are like, oh, Nod is better than GDI. It's like, no, they're very much not. I'm not going to say GDI is perfect. They definitely aren't. And I'm not going to say that Nod doesn't have a point. And I let's put it this way. I have a lot more sympathy for the rank and file Nod soldiers in the Tiberian Wars era than I do the leadership. I definitely think the Yellow Zone people have a lot of legitimate grievances with GDI. Let's see. Number One Rival says, it is also interesting that the news reports audio that can be heard in the Nod buildings in CNC Renegade does also point to the religious side of Nod being activated along with their front-by-front bases. Yes! It's one of the early missions. I remember recording the entire spiel coming from the loudspeakers in the Nod compound where they're brainwashing the new recruits. It is fascinating. It's, especially since Renegade, I believe, was created after Tiberian Sun, so this is when Westwood was trying to, like, retcon and, like, fill out more of the lore from the Tiberian Dawn age, and there's some really fascinating stuff in there. I can't wait to share that with you guys in the next Nod video. Panzer says, LOTR of the Third Age was a, what's FF, inspired turn-based RPG. Oh, Final Fantasy. It was very fun, but also very hard. I'll have to check that out. I don't know if I heard of that. Super Challenge Bros says, yo, what? I don't know what that's a response to. Snufflegrunt says, you're absolutely not in the minority on preferring Biblical Cain. That's good to know. I was not aware of that. Let's see. Luke Danger says, the Disc Thrower is cooking on... Oh, yeah, that's when that happened. Okay, we're caught up to that. Let me scroll down a bit. Panzer1509 says, we got the rockets. Yeah, as much as I... Yeah, no, that I love the voice lines in CNC3. Aussie says, if it moves, kill it. Yeah, a lot of iconic lines from CNC3. I really like the voice lines in CNC3. Luke Danger says, GDI using DTs, disc throwers, also shows their doctrine too. Nod has to deal with GDI air power. GDI mostly has air supremacy and is more easily able to call in reinforcements while Nod is fractured. That's true, because even though Nod technically has, I would say, superior air power with the Banshee, canonically, that's a later development. And I don't know in how many numbers they were actually able to field the Banshees compared to GDI with their Orca fleet. Luke Danger also says, that might have been me mentioning the guidance files. I think I stumbled onto them online in-game and then found the Ava Data spell. Oh yeah, it very well might have been you. You've been a very active commenter on my channel. I appreciate it. Let's bring my engineer over here. I like capturing Nod stuff. Let's see. Panzer says, do you guys remember the old previews that came with Red Alert and Tiberian Sun? Oh my gosh. I think I might. That's like an old memory of mine. Do you guys remember the old Tiberian Sun demo? I have a memory of that, but I can't find it anywhere. If you guys know anywhere you can you download the old Tiberian Sun demo, that would make me very happy. Warhawk Rambo. Ooh, looks like we got someone new to the chat. Have you played From the Ashes mod for RA1? I have not. What is that? Cabal Core says, the Brotherhood is at an evolutionary dead end. I am the only salvation to the continued supremacy of Nod. It is my world now. Gosh, Cabal was such a cool villain. Snufflegrunt. I wouldn't have studied politics at college if I didn't play CNC as a kid. Really? I'd love to hear more about that, Snufflegrunt. That's... I think I mentioned in my Tiberian Sun video that Tiberian Sun is part of the reason why I became an engineer, just because I was so in love with the technology. So, I'm curious to see why CNC created in you a love for politics. That sounds awesome. I don't know how to pronounce that. Shamiel. Listen to the sounds of your own extinction. Panzer says, GDI have orbital superiority, so it makes sense Nod would go more underground. Yeah, that's something I loved about the Tiberian Sun era, is like, as GDI becomes more and more space-bound, Nod's pretty much entire infrastructure goes underground. I just thought that was super cool. We got the Kodiak, which can go through space or in atmosphere, And then the Nod equivalent is the Montauk that goes underground. It's so cool. Snufflegrunt says, for the Tiberian Sun demo, Google Tiberian Sun demo, it's the second hit. Oh, shoot, is it that easy? Warhawk Rambo says, From the Ashes is a fan-made campaign mod that bridges the gap between RA and Tiberian Dawn. Nice. I'll have to look that up. I'm always fascinated by the idea of Westwood trying to bridge the Red Alert and Tiberian universes, with the original Red Alert originally being a prequel. So that sounds like that's right up my alley. We have Aussie saying, no problem. I love the accents of the engineers during Sun. Snufflegrunt says, CNC just deals with a lot of political issues that you mentioned earlier. Real politics, not the Twitter stuff. I feel you, man. I feel you. I don't know how much this has come through in my video essays, but I am a huge history buff. I love history, and I think that's just a much better way of looking at politics from like a much more macro view, and it helps you look at it more objectively and without emotion, which, because, you know, politics can get very charged. So I get you, man. I get you. I wish I could do more history stuff on the channel. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll do more Assassin's Creed stuff at some point, but I love history. I wish I could incorporate that more into the channel. Oh, by the way, that reminds me, I was originally going to do a video on all the ways that Nod, specifically Kane, manipulates the media throughout Tiberian Dawn, Sun, and Wars, and comparing that to historical examples of like false flag attacks and things like that. I never got around to making it, but again, I'm always looking for ways to incorporate history into this stuff, because that's another one of my great hobbies. Let's see, we got more stuff here. I'm going to answer a few more of your questions before I move to the next mission. Again, guys, this is Q&A. Feel free to ask me any questions about the channel, future videos, suggestions for other videos, questions about the lore, and I'm also going to be talking about future things of the channel, as far as what videos are coming up next, and my plans for a second channel. So feel free to ask whatever you want. Panzer1509 says, I also want walkers with 120mm smoothbore cannons, not gonna lie. I feel you. The Titans were so freaking cool. That was probably the biggest thing that was sad for me about Command & Conquer 3, is that they seriously scale back on the walkers. But, you know, Steel Towns fixed that. Steel Towns rules. Cabal Core says, Aussie, someone needs to make a mod that replaced Snowman saying no problem. You know, me and Aussie have been kicking around the idea of making a video game of our own, since we're both kind of programmers in our own ways, for our actual work. We love video games, so when we finally get some free time, we might, you know, make even a third channel and, you know, post developer updates, and, you know, you guys can see what we're doing. We're going to start small, but we hope to be able to make stuff. The dream is eventually someday to make our own RTS, but obviously that's a huge endeavor, and you never bite off more than you can chew. But fun little fact there about us. Luke Danger. So should we hold the comments a bit to let them focus on the Fixed Force mission? Fixed Force mission. Oh, is this the one where I have to choose between two?
Scout reporting in north of Sector 9.
Oh, it
No
is.
sign of Vega and his men, but they found something.
I've never seen anything like it, sir. It's easily the size of one of our carriers, but
But what?
I don't think humans made this, sir.
God, I love the Scrid ship.
Hold back, soldier. We're closing in on the site now. What's that recon tell us?
Nod forces have been detected 6 miles west of the site. It may be a possible staging area for Vega's troops.
Take the staging base out first. It'll be a hell of a lot easier to get to the crash site. Ava, you think they can hold out that long?
Okay, I remember this one. This is something I really miss from the old CNC games, is how you would have 2 missions that you could choose. And I think starting with Tiberian Sun, if you picked one of them that was technically harder, usually, as Luke said, a fixed force mission where you only had a limited number of soldiers. But if you completed that harder mission, it would make the other mission easier. And I love that as a kid. And I kind of wish CNC kept doing that. Yeah, I might need to focus for this one. Let's see. Let me answer a few more questions before we go on. Cabal says, or spam it and ruin his life. Yeah, like I need more of that. Number One Rival says, the non-multiplayer Eva and Renegade also has some voice lines that I'm unsure if they're used. There's a 27-minute video that includes the Ava quoting the guidance lectures. Yes, I think the Nod Eva says a lot of that stuff in the final mission where you're in the Temple of Nod in Cairo, which again I recorded a lot of. Snufflegrunt says, I would love to see that Nod media manipulation video. Yeah. If you guys think that you still something you would love to watch, maybe I'll get around to doing it someday. Again, always love to put more history into my stuff. Warhawk Rambo says, do you play Darkest Hour, a Hearts of Iron game? No, I have not. What is that? Aussie says, Burger Time. Yeah. Cabal Core. The Juggernauts, or the Jugs, is RA3 acting like chickens are incredible. I think he's talking about the Juggernauts in Tiberian Wars, where they sometimes act like chickens. That's pretty funny. Warhawk Rambo says, I love Darkest Hour. I have a mod for I'm trying to find coders for. Cool. Aussie says, Cabal Core. I love that too. Haha, wasn't it in Tiberian Wars? Branching missions were fun. Tiberian Sun mechs are fun, but I do think the idea of GDI focusing everything to reclamation, so reducing walker use for that and different priorities could have worked, i.e. focus on reclamation. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with it from a storytelling perspective. I just love my mechs, and I do like that they made a compromise with Kane's Wrath and that we can still get mechs. They're just with a specialized division in Steel Talons. Panzer 1509 says, I like the map selection, but I didn't like that I could never tell which is optional. It's even more vague on the Nod map. Yes, if they ever remaster this, I hope it's like the Tiberian Dawn and Red Alert 1 remasters, where you can go back and pick the branch you didn't pick. Tiberian Firestorm, I think, is the first game where you can actually select the missions now. Whereas in this one, if you're not saving beforehand and you pick the wrong one, I remember getting screwed because I picked the mutant rescue mission where you have to rescue the mutants from the dust-off zone, and I couldn't beat that mission, and I had to load back. I don't think I saved far enough back, so I had to restart the whole campaign and pick a different branch because I wasn't saving enough. Horrifying when you're a 9-year-old kid. I'm glad I keep seeing Tiberian Sun content lately. Thank you, Tim Stonks. All right, I'm going to start the next mission. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about next. I mentioned a bunch of stuff like feature videos, second channel, other stuff. So let me know what you want me to talk about next.
Destroying the base in this sector will prevent further removal of artifacts from the crash site. In addition, Nod will not be able to reinforce the site from this location.
All right, let's do this one. By the way, I have never played this campaign on normal because 90s easy is today's normal difficulty. I always played this campaign on easy as a kid, so this is my first time playing on normal. Okay. Shamil says, why did GDI destroy that small village in Chad during the First War? I see you take your dues from Greg Burdett. Luke Danger says, that mutant rescue mission, that one is such BS, mostly due to Nod artillery. Yes. I also didn't realize that if you just go up left and then right, it's a much clearer path. I kept going down right into the Nod artillery gauntlet. I'm going to start saving, I think, or... let's see. Agency Snowman, you should let the chat choose your mission. Nope. I'm going for the harder ones. This is what we do. Alright, I'm not going to be looking at the chat as much this time, guys, until I'm done with this mission, so I apologize. I gotta focus. So this will be more like a classic walkthrough for the next few minutes. Hope you guys don't mind. Yeah, good point, Snuffleground. I think that also happens in the Red Alert campaign for the Allies once they start moving into Russia. Okay. All right, let's move west. Good idea, Luke Danger. Think of questions. What else do you want me to talk about? Like I said, future videos. Second channel. Let's go.
I'm on it.
Alright, can I capture this? I remember capturing this when I was a kid. I don't remember what it does, though. Whoa!
Reinforcements.
Heck yeah! That lingered in the back of my memory.
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Yes, sir. Sir.
Oh, thank you, Luke Danger. I was wondering what that was all about. Shoot. Okay, I'm going to save again because if I remember correctly, I used to take that area down below to get more jump troopers. But they're also cyborgs, and I'm on normal, so I don't know how many of my guys will survive.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Orders. Moving out. Medic reporting. Yeah. Moving out.
This game has such a unique atmosphere.
Loud and clear. Moving out.
I really wish that there was more of the mechanics from this game that made it into future games. Specifically, the idea of subterranean units, amphibious units, the stealth units. I felt like that added a lot of really cool mechanics that, weirdly enough, just were never brought in any of the future games, except for maybe stealth. And I guess RA3 had amphibious stuff, but especially underground units, I'm just like, why was that never brought back? And I know why it wasn't, because the Sage unit, the Sage engine that was created for Command & Conquer Generals, was basically used in every future CNC game going forward, and that just didn't allow for a lot of the mechanics that were introduced in Tiberian Sun. But it always just kind of boggles my mind whenever indie developers or others are like, hey, we're going to create a brand new RTS game and we're going to evolve the experience. And a lot of the changes they make I find kind of overcomplicate the RTS formula, when I feel like a lot of the changes that should be made are stuff like traversal, with the subterranean stuff, the amphibious things, and the stealth. I feel like you can keep the game relatively simple so that a mass audience still wants to engage with it, while still adding some innovative things that make it feel like nothing else on the market. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just a man. I'm just a man.
New terrain discovered.
Oh, is there now? Is there a way up here that I missed? Or maybe it's later. I feel like I missed something. There's something in the back of my memory. If you guys remember this mission better than I do, let me know in the chat. I'm going to save again. Let's see. Aussie says, what is your favorite unit from Tiberian Sun Firestorm? Good question. I'm probably forgetting something, but probably the Juggernaut. It was just such a relief that GDI finally got artillery, and that Nods was finally nerfed from being so OP. Panzer 1509 says, the Apocalypse atmosphere is my favorite here, but some of the CNC3 art also looks really good, especially the broken Golden Gate Bridge. Yes, that looks incredible. I wish... Gosh, I wish that the in-game red zones look more like that splash screen. Again, which is probably just engine limitations. Oh, cyborgs. Head southwest to get the second comm station. Oh, past the bridge? Okay, good point. I will go back. Thank you, Luke Danger. I love the angel halo sounds whenever they're healing somebody. Yeah. Well, I got a question for you guys. That's kind of just like, what other games do you guys like playing? I've mentioned a few of the other games that I like playing. Like, it's not just RTS. I like Halo, Call of Duty. You know, I mentioned some RPGs like Octopath Traveler. I love Commandos, other games from the 90s. Yeah, what are some of the other games that you guys like enjoying that may not be RTS or Command & Conquer? Snufflegrunt says, running out of tip to mine in CNC3 red zone destroys any immersion. Okay, so it's not just me. Like, CNC3, I feel like you run out of Tiberium very quickly. Which, yeah, it does feel like it breaks the immersion for a world that's like, oh, Tiberium's going to take over the entire planet. And it's like, really? I can harvest it for 5 minutes and it's gone. Luke Danger says, you should be able to pick up some Titans if you go west of that bridge, though. Really? I don't remember being able to pick up Titans in this level. Let me save again. Okay. There we go. Ooh, we're getting some answers here in the chat. Number one rival says Dark Souls, Fallout, Saints Row. Oh, very cool. I do not have good enough timing to play any of the From Software games. Like, I played the Jedi Survivor games and Jedi Fallen Order, and that was hard enough for me. I had to go to the lowest difficulty because I'm just terrible at timing things. I do want to play more Fallout, though, especially since that's all on Game Pass through backwards compatibility. Like, I really want to go back and play all those. Panzer... Whoop. Nope. Ah. Here we go. Save my engineers. Alright, awesome. Panzer 1509 says, most of the Tiberium and red zones turned into those weird glaciers, I think. Yeah, that's true. Canonically, that is the answer to that question. I don't think it's a satisfying answer, but it is the correct answer. Snufflegrunt says, Doom, Fallout, No One Lives Forever, KOTOR, Civilization. Oh, I love Civilization. Me and the D-Train have burned so many hours until like 4 in the morning playing Civilization 5 and 6. Haven't picked up 7 yet just because A, I'm poor, and B, no Civilization actually gets good until like 2 years later. Unfortunately. Shamil says, I enjoyed Helldivers a lot. Yes, me and the D-Train actually played a lot of the initial Helldivers before it was cool. And then Helldivers 2, I did pick up and I played with some of my friends. As soon as the D-Train gets a copy of it, we're probably going to play some as well. Hopefully on the channel. Warhawk Rambo says, I love pro wrestling games. Total Extreme Wrestling is a booking sim where you play as a wrestling promoter. Ooh, that's interesting. I love little niche games where it's like, very few people will enjoy playing that, but you went and made that game anyway. Okay. Let's see. Super Challenge Bros. The Tiberian Glaciers are really cool. I just wish we were able to mine them. Ooh, that would be cool. Let's save the game. Engineers, you're getting a little too close to those cyborgs. It's almost like you want to die. I get it. This is a depressing world, but, like, have some sense of self-preservation. Okay. Yeah, at the bridge, you fought all that cyborg and you went west. There's a spot where the Titans can shoot the non-power plants. Oh, really? Oh, wait, no, I do remember that. Also, I love that the Tiberium comes out of the cyborgs, just showing that, like, they are partly made with Tiberium, which is further expounded upon in Renegade. Luke, I think that's a different one where you spawn in 2 different places. We could be right. No. I think Luke is right. I do remember the Titans now. Right, get the medic over here. Get you here. When I said Fallout, I meant Fallout 1. Oh! Yeah, the classics. Is there an easy way to play those? Oh, here we are at the dropship. Guess who's right? Gosh, I love the GDI dropships in this game. They're so good. Warhawk Rambo says, I also love Ace Combat. I actually have only played the 7th one, the most recent one. I haven't finished it yet. I want to play it on the channel for the 2nd channel. I absolutely adore that game. I can't believe I've missed out on those games for so long. Panzer says, I've been playing WoW Classic, Repo, and Valheim. Solid choices, solid choices. Cabal Core, Fallout, Need for Speed, Twisted Metal, playing Oblivion Remastered as I watch this. Yeah, no, my friend, actually my roommate, he absolutely adores all the Elder Scrolls game, and he's been loving Oblivion Remastered. Need for Speed, that's a blast from the past. I used to play the classic ones as a kid all the time. Need for Speed 2, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, Need for Speed 3, Hot Pursuit. Yeah, like a lot of the very early ones. I didn't play like the classic ones everybody loves, like Underground and a lot of the other. Whoa, 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 whoa. But yeah, I love Need for Speed. Luke Danger, for other games, I love Tempest Rising, of course. Been playing a lot of Manor Lords. I've heard good things about Manor Lords. Used to play a lot of Total War, Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous 2, and slowly some fanfic for... I don't know what that stands for off the top of my head. But, yeah, no, I used to love playing Total War as well. I mostly played Medieval 2 Total War. I wish they would make more medieval games in the Total War franchise. Those are probably my favorite. I really want to do a video essay on Medieval Total War at some point. Those assassin cutscenes were kind of what made me play Assassin's Creed. G36 Enjoyer. Not using your medic on that guy. Sorry. I'm looking at chat. I can't micromanage as well as I might otherwise. Cabal, I love Need for Speed, although I almost always play the older ones. Need for Speed Hot Pursuits are my faves. Warhawk Rambo, talking about Ace Combat, says 5 and 0 are amazing if you can get PCX2 to play on PC. Yeah, I've heard that 5 and 0 are the best ones. I've watched a lot of video essays on the stories of those games, so I'm kind of versed in how that operates, but I haven't had a chance to play anything other than 7 yet, so I hope to at some point. Of course, my future's probably only going to get more busy with more responsibilities, you know, as you grow up. But hopefully I still have time to play. My girlfriend's also a gamer, so hopefully she'll be understanding. Use Fallout Fixed mod for a lot of quality of life additions for Fallout 1. It's such a tight game. Quite short for an RPG 2, maybe 12 to 15 hours in the first run. I like that. I like short games. You know, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a game I never played because I was just intimidated by how long it was, even though I love Assassin's Creed games. So the idea of a short game is not something that turns me off. That very much makes me think, oh, that's something I could actually really enjoy. Gosh. You guys getting a load of this music? Jared Mendelsohn absolutely cooked with this game. Firestorm had more of Frank Lepacki's work in it, from what I remember. Okay. Medics can auto-heal if you select a medic and tell them to act on themselves, though it does make them run around on their own, but you can cancel a given removal order. Oh, good to know. Oh, here we go. There we go. What's up here? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. No, no. Come back. Is he going to blow up the bridge?
Loud and clear. Sir?
Gah, of course he is. My engineers can't do that.
You got it.
Let's get you guys over here. Panzer says, one of my favorite games is World in Conflict. Would recommend for anyone into RTS. I've heard of that. I don't think I've ever played that. I'll have to look that up. World in Conflict. Don't forget that, Snowman. Shamil says Broken Arrow has some of its spirit. I've heard of Broken Arrow. I need to look more into that game. I think that's a newer one, right? Number One Rival says, I would have liked more tech structures in CNC3, like tech power plants and repair bays. Yeah, no, I could see that. Panzer says, I've been also following Broken Arrow. Plasma Drone. Ooh, Plasma Drone, are you new? Welcome to the chat. Are the classic CNC titles running smoothly on Steam without having to mess around with the settings? I look forward to buying the classic collection. Yeah, no, at least on my computer, they work fine without really any sort of changes required. I have nothing but praise for the remastered collection, except for the weird fact that you can't see a list of your saved games. I have no idea why that isn't a thing, and if you guys know of a mod where you can see all your save games listed the way that I can here, please, for the love of Pete, tell me where I can find that. It's very annoying. Okay. Luke Danger says, video essay on the Medieval 2 Total War would be fun. It'd be fun to see that, especially on how it seems to endure and iterated so well in Rome Total War. Yeah, I should play the original Rome Total War. Oh, you're right. Oh my gosh, Luke Danger, you're a genius. How have I never known that I could do that? Yeah, no, I would love to play those old games again. Stufflegrunt, Fallout 1 has zero fluff, which is partly why I love it. Yeah, I should give that a shot. Number One Rival says, though I do enjoy how armies in CNC3 feel bigger overall to the infantry squads. Yeah, I don't hate the infantry squads. I think they're kind of cool. It's weird that they never brought them back, but I guess the only game after that was Red Alert 3 and the game that shall not be named. But it was a cool idea. I liked it too. I don't know if I want that for every CNC game, but I didn't hate it when it was in CNC3. Aussie says, Mutant soundtrack is fire. Yes, it is. Warhawk Rainbow says, Command & Conquer music is amazing. Panzer says, will you try the Stronghold Crusader Definitive Edition demo? I have never really gotten into the Stronghold series. I probably should. I didn't know there was a demo out for a new game right now. Okay, let's kill these guys. Medics do only heal up to half health, though. Good point. I have a lot of it on my phone playlist. Good man. Medics heal to full health. They can also do mid-combat healing too, though of course that means getting up close to the fight. Yes, definitely a lot of micromanaging with the medics. It kind of bugged me that GDI didn't have medics going forward. I kind of wish they were in CNC3. That just feels in line with... Oh, shoot. No, don't kill him. Whoop. Okay, whoop. Come on, come on. Save the civilians. Thanks for the help. I barely remember this. Oh, that's right. They give you a shortcut away across the... Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh, yeah. Wait, don't I have to go here to get the Titans? I think I remember that. Okay, I'm gonna save, follow up on the chat, and then I'll go back, I think. Depending on what Luke Danger tells me. Or the rest of the chat. Panzer says it can run, yes, but getting the additions from CNCnet has some very nice quality of life. True. Plasma Drone says World in Conflict and its Soviet Assault expansion have the best storytelling. The characters from both sides are very well written. Huh. I'll have to check out World in Conflict. Panzer1509 says World in Conflict is why I have an affinity for Seattle. Plasma Drone says, what's up with the classic CNC saves again? I wasn't here before. Oh, just that, look, if you go to, like, save games, like, I can see all my previous saves, but in the remaster collection, you can only put in one entry for saving, and then you can't see a list of all your entries. You can see a list of everything once you go to load, but on saving, you can't for some reason. I don't know why. Should I go back? Chat, let me know. Should I go back here to pick up the Titans? I just want to know that the Titans actually will show up if I go back here. If they won't, then I'll just keep going up this way. But if they will, I actually do want to go back. I'll like up the speed and go back here. So please let me know.
Engineering, no problem. Affirmative. Yeah, you got it.
Gosh, this is what civilian structures look like in this post-apocalyptic future. They look like what you would need to survive underwater. Just nothing is aesthetically pleasing. Oh, it's an approach trigger? Okay. I'm going to use my Wolverines to make it quicker. Nope. Okay, well, you know. Pathfinding. Yeah, no, the civilian structures, it's funny. And the only, like, buildings that look like 21st century buildings as we would know them are in ruins. And they look like they've been abandoned for years. I just love that bit of subtle storytelling. Is there anything over here? I don't think there is. All right, well, while I'm doing busy work of going back, I will talk about the future of the channel. So yeah, I apologize for not getting any new videos out in the last couple of months. As I've alluded to in several community posts. Life has been very stressful and overwhelming with a lot of real life responsibilities. I'm hopeful that within the next month or so that'll all be ironed out, and I will have more free time to devote to the channel. I just got to get over this hump in life, and then hopefully things will get infinitely better. And what I have in the pipeline right now is I got the script done for the Commandos video essay for the very first one, Behind Enemy Lines. Quick question. How many of you guys are familiar with the Commandos games from the 90s? Those games were my childhood. I've seen it in a few comments on my channel of other people saying that they also played those games very early on. But yeah, so I basically have in the pipeline doing video essays for several of the Commandos games. Basically a retrospective on the entire series. I also wanted to do stuff with the Red Alert 2. Oh, there we go. Plasma Drone. Commandos. Yes, there we go. There's my people. Yeah. And as I mentioned before, I played through all the old Commando games again, recorded footage. I even played the newest one by Calypso Studios that released just like a month or two ago, called Commandos Origins. I really love that game. Like, I still play it for fun. Like, I'm a guy where Commandos Beyond the Call of Duty has been my favorite Commandos for a very long time, and Commandos Origin just kind of hits that sweet spot of scratching that itch that the lack of those games has left. So yeah, making video essays for those, and then next on the docket is Red Alert 2. That game's going to be very easy to make a video for, just because, you know, everybody loves Red Alert 2. Everybody loves it. I can't think of anybody that has anything negative to say. I'm probably the only person that doesn't think that game walks on water. But I still love it. Like, it's not as much as Tiberian Sun, not as much as Red Alert 1, but objectively speaking, Red Alert 2 is a fantastic game, and I look forward to basically just gushing about it and all the positive things that I like about that game. Really looking forward to that. And then after that, it's back to the Brotherhood of Nod video and finishing out that series. And then from there, who knows? We'll see where we go. And before I talk about the second channel, let me go to Plasma Drone, who says, I also highly recommend Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun. It's a game by Mimi Games. Left us too early. Yeah. Oh. No, for real. I was looking for something to fill that gap that Commandos left, and I did discover Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun. Love that game. Love its DLC, Aiko's Choice. Just an incredible game. And Commandos Origins feels like it takes a lot of cues from Shadow Tactics. You're right. It's so sad that Mimi couldn't keep its doors open and they closed down, because it's like we have so few indie and AA studios making games like that, and the fact that they couldn't keep their doors open is just really sad. Now I'm remembering this. It's all coming back. Thank you, Luke Danger. Aussie says, will you cover any of the Army Men games? I know that's a bit different than what you've done previously. I actually was going to. I got the games on GOG, but there's a problem where the frame rate is super slow on my PC. It is prohibitively slow, and I can't play it well. I really wanted to play through and record my entire playthrough of the first Army Man game and do a video essay on it, but unfortunately I haven't been able to fix the frame rate issue. If anybody knows how to fix the frame rate issue, oh, that's so cool. I forgot that destroyed the laser defenses. If anybody knows how to fix that, let me know, because I really would love to cover the Army Men series on the channel. That was another core pillar of my childhood. Let's save. Let's see. Warhawk Rambo says, RA2 has an awesome modding scene. Mental Omega is great. Yeah, no, people have said nothing but positive things about Mental Omega. I have a really hard time. Okay, you know, let's load back. I don't want to lose that many. Let's let the Titans go first, guys. Let's let the Titans go first. yeah, I had trouble getting Mental Omega to work on my computer, and I had to go to the Discord server and get other stuff to work, and then it was seen as a virus, and I had to like get my antivirus to not see it that way, and then it was a hassle. And then I finally got it to work, and then I was having frame rate issues and resolution issues. It's a pain to get that thing installed, which is a shame because I've heard so many great things about Mental Omega, and I would really love to cover it on this channel. But my gosh, is that a pain and a half to get installed. At least for me it was. Yeah, no. Yuri's Revenge was super fun. Luke Danger says, huh, before you did a reload, it looked like some reinforcements were showing up at the original drop zone. Oh, you're right. I don't see anything. I'll have to check the stream afterwards. Oh, right, no, wait, I forgot. Ah! Oh, there they are. There you go. You're right, Luke Danger, here they are. Also, I love that this field was not that big when we started, and it's slowly been growing larger and larger. Yeah. Yeah, so the rest of what I wanted to say for this stream is the second channel. So as I mentioned before, yeah, that's a good point, Luke. The second channel basically is going to be just kind of for fun. I don't expect it to be as successful as the main channel. It's basically just gonna... I feel like the first channel has kind of been diluted because I was doing a lot of experimentation with the first channel, HFC Snowman Gaming, and I was kind of doing mostly Let's Plays because I grew up with people like Ghost Robo, Markiplier, and people like that, so I just thought, oh, I'd love to do what they do. I don't really expect to be successful, I just want to have fun posting videos. And then I thought, oh, maybe I should try doing video essays. I like the sound of my own voice. So, and then the Tiberian Sun video just like blew up. And so yeah, when that blew up, I realized that, like, oh, a lot of people are now coming to my channel for video essays, especially on Command & Conquer, and they're mostly going to be seeing a bunch of Let's Plays and walkthroughs that don't really have much to do with anything now, and are not getting much views. So I'm going to probably move all of those videos to my second channel. That's going to be just for gameplay walkthroughs. And if anybody enjoys watching me play that, great, but I'm well aware most people won't, and that's just going to be so I can keep making the videos that I like making for myself and for my friends, like the D-Train, and not have to worry about it harming, you know, the algorithm for my first channel. Let's see, we got a question here from the Plasma Drone. Have you played XCOM titles? I completed the ones from Firaxis, and I'm still waiting for XCOM 3, but 9 years in, I don't think we're getting it, especially after Jake Solomon left. Yeah, I don't know as much about XCOM. I played a little bit of the very first one through, what's it called, DOSBox. I found that very interesting. I was watching, if you ever seen Ahoy's YouTube channel, he used to be called Xbox Ahoy. He did a video on the history of the original XCOMs. Absolutely loved it. And so I'm kind of like tangentially interested in like the story and the world of XCOM, but I don't think I enjoy that genre of game as much, and certainly not enough to devote a lot of time to it, unfortunately. You know, it's the same thing with the From Software titles. I'm just not good enough at those games and not a big enough fan of that genre to devote the time it would take to get good at it, which is a shame because I recognize objectively those are fantastic games. Warhawk says, I use Bitdefender. Used to use Kaspersky. Well, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I did get it through eventually, but there's now other issues, so I don't know what that's about. Snufflegrunt says, where does the Snowman name come from? Yeah, that was a fun one. From what I remember, the Snowman name came from right around when Frozen came out. and there was a family friend, and she was really young, and she really liked the "Do You Want to Build a Snowman" song. And even though I hated Frozen and really just couldn't understand why it was so popular, I wanted to make her happy, so I learned a bunch of the Frozen songs, including "Do You Want to Build a Snowman," basically verbatim, which made her very happy. And from then on, when I came to use usernames for various things, I decided I'm going to be HHC Snowman. So I don't know. I feel like at this point it's the Joker thing, where like if you ask me tomorrow, I might have a completely different story. I'm pretty sure that's where the name came from, but I could be wrong, and I might remember it differently another day. So that's that. The classic XCOM titles gained quite an interest some years ago when Lewis and Ben Save the World made many streams of it. Too bad they haven't continued it. I haven't heard of that. I'll have to look into that. All right. Here, get up here and heal everyone. Gosh, that's so cool. I wish I had known that. As a kid, I could have used the auto heal button. Like, that would have been so useful. Let's do
Infantry reporting. Infantry reporting.
All right, I'm going to save again. I guess we'll go back around the horn. Which faction is more fun to play in your opinion? Allies or Soviets? Red Alert 1. That, as a kid, I would have said Soviets every time. Nowadays, I have more of an appreciation for the Allies, just because I think they're scrappy. They have an amazing navy. The cruisers are awesome, and I just like the idea of the underdog fighting with asymmetrical warfare. And it reminds me of World War II, because that was a very similar thing where the Allies tend to have tanks like the Shermans that were more light tanks versus the German tank philosophy, which had heavier tanks. No two-barreled as far as I'm aware, but it's just fun in that way for immersion for me to play as the Allies more often than not. Even though I love the Tesla coils and the Mammoth tanks. Plasma Drone says there's a second channel. Not yet. As soon as I get my life together and finally figure out how to be a proper adult, hopefully in the next couple of months, I will make a second channel to put all the Let's Plays on there, so that the main channel will only have video essays going forward. Shamil says HHC is a clan tag. No, I think HHC is supposed to stand for something very specific. I don't remember off the top of my head. If it's what I'm thinking it is, it's something very personal, so I'm not going to share it here. But there was actual thought into HHC as well. Bro, the medic just healed that citizen. Yeah, I noticed that too. I didn't even know that was possible. Plasma Drone, there's an auto heal button for the medic. Yeah, Luke Danger was just telling us about that. It's kind of crazy. I have never known about that. Also, can we talk about like the aesthetic of the sidebar and the top bar and how it's just like grungy 90s industrial Terminator 2 metal? Like, just I miss that so much. The Nod one is equally as cool. Yeah, no, Aussie, that's what I always told you. And sometimes I was genuinely forgetting, and that was what I said. Other times I just didn't want to tell you what it actually stood for. Which you're now finding out here on the live stream. No, I still think Frozen is way overrated. Tangled was a much better movie, but didn't get the same marketing push. But like, Tangled is a much better movie. And I will die on that hill. There are not many hills I'm willing to die on, but this one is mine. Warhawk Rambo says, Warhawk is my name in reference to Mech Warrior and Rambo from my affinity for the Rambo movies. Oh yeah, awesome. I love the Rambo movies. Specifically the first one. I really love the first one. That one had a seriousness and something like genuine to say about veterans. That, like that final scene with Rambo where he's talking with his commanding officer, and he, after being like the tough guy the whole time, when he breaks down crying, like, that still makes me cry every time. Gosh, it's so powerful. I think a lot of people look at Sylvester Stallone and see him as the action guy and forget that, like, that guy can act. Like, that guy can really act. Plasma Drone says, where's the button? I must have missed it earlier on the stream. What button? What are you What are you talking about?
Awaiting orders. Knowledge. Sir. Yes, sir.
All right, don't stand on the tracks. We don't want to get run over. All right, maybe we can capture some stuff. Trying to remember. How many engineers do I have to keep on? No, I just have to capture the train station. Okay, so I only need one engineer. Okay, I also don't have any money, though, so... Unless I sell stuff.
Yes, sir.
Luke Danger says, the industrial beige of the GDI UI also feels like it's been sandblasted by the environment or meant to somewhat blend in. Yes. I love that sort of beige, desert camo, industrial aesthetic to GDI's look in Tiberian Sun. CNC3 made it a little closer to like an orange, which I was never a huge fan of, but you know, nitpicking. CNC3 is still a great game. Like I said before, I can't abide those people that say like, "Oh, it shouldn't be canon." I don't hate CNC3 that much. It's still a pretty good game, especially with Kane's Wrath. It's a great game. Yeah, no, you're absolutely true. The train conquers all. Actually, you know what? Let's just capture them all. As long as we keep one engineer here. Here, you get in here. You get in here. And you get in here. And then you. Alright. Oh no! Also that, look at that. Like a thing that covers the radar. Gosh, that's so freaking cool. I miss all the little artistic touches that made games have soul, you know? I feel like the original Fallout has that too.
Building captured.
Okay. There was an edited general's map where a train just came and ran over all your buildings and units. It was kind of cracked. Actually, I think I do remember that. I think we played on that map together. Yeah, I owe it to my dad to do a video essay on generals at some point, because that's his absolutely favorite Command & Conquer game of all time. He used to play a lot of Tiberian Sun back in the day, but as soon as Generals came out, that's all he played. He loves that game, and I love it too. I think objectively, Zero Hour is the best Command & Conquer game as far as like gameplay mechanics. It's not personally my favorite, but it is my favorite. Let's do 3. And away we go.
Secondary objective achieved.
Okay, I think that's all I wanted to talk about on this stream. I talked about the future videos I'm doing. I talked about the second channel. I think that's everything, honestly. Yeah. I'll play a little bit longer, guys. If you guys got any more questions, definitely let me know. Or if you want my opinions on any of the games in Command & Conquer or the lore, I'd love to discuss that with you guys. You guys have some really great takes on the lore. Going through the comments of my channel. Finding other people that have that much passion and that much devotion to actually like thinking this much about the story of Command & Conquer, it's hard to find. And if nothing else, I love that my channel is a place where I can find other people who think that much about the lore. Plasma Drone says... No, I missed Michael Grodel, who said... Definitely interested if you've made a General's essay if you made it. Yeah, no, eventually I will. I'm not really sure what I would talk about. I could talk about the gameplay mechanics and how the 3 factions are incredibly well balanced while being very asymmetrical. Or I could talk about the story. I think there's a lot of interesting things with the story that are weirdly kind of paralleling real life politics. It's kind of crazy. So I might talk about that at some point. Depends how spicy I'm feeling. Plasma Drone says, Generals and Zero Hour were my first CNC games. So good. I felt so robbed when Generals 2 was announced and canceled. Yes. Plasma Drone, you get it. I remember showing my dad the trailer for Generals 2. I remember being so excited. I remember getting less excited when it became a free-to-play. I remember being even less excited when there was going to be no campaign. It was multiplayer only. Then excited again when they said they were going to release a mission pack for single-player stuff. And then they canceled it outright. Ugh. As Warhawk Rambo says, EA sucks. Snufflegrunt says, GDI or not? If GDI, you're a heretic. Well, Snufflegrunt, I guess I'm a heretic because I am GDI all the way. You guys can't see it, but in my room there is a giant flag up on the wall. That's just the Tiberian Sun version of the GDI logo. Because in this house, we're a GDI household. And that's how all of my descendants will be as well. What do we got? Warhawk Rainbow says the people who canceled Generals 2 and wrecked CNC4 can get off my lawn. Yep. Camille says also the Tiberium FPS. Oh no, dog. Shamil, why'd you have to remind me of the Tiberium FPS? I was so excited for that. The Skrin were gonna return. You had an adaptive rifle. It had squad mechanics, so it was like FPS with strategy to it. You had autonomous titans you could command. Every now and again, I wake up in a cold sweat at 2 a.m. and just mourn the loss of the Tiberium FPS. Anyway, Cabal Core says, the way I got one of my friends to get interested in CNC was to show him RA3 Tim Curry cutscenes. Once hooked, everything, explained everything else to him. When I eventually get around to completing the RA trilogy of video essays on this channel and talk about RA3, I'll give you guys a sneak peek because there's only... I actually don't know how many of you are in the chat right now. Aussie, can you tell me how many people are in the chat right now? I will get back to the RA3 thing. Luke Danger says, Tim's Sun version of the GDI logo is the best version of its logo. It absolutely is. If any of you guys are familiar with the YouTube channel, the Templin Institute, they're a great channel that talks about the lore of like several different fictional franchises. They did a video on the best designed flags. Look it up. You will not be sorry. Templin Institute, best designed flags. They did a video and they talked about how they didn't like the GDI logo except the Tiberian Sun version, which they said is one of the best flag designs ever. And I know that's just confirmation bias, but that makes me love their channel even more. Ozzy says we got 14. Okay, awesome. So basically what I was going to say with that is there's only 14 of you here. I will leave this live stream saved up on the channel so people who missed the stream can come back and watch it. But I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of my thoughts on RA3 that I'm going to put in the video essay later. I think RA3 is one of the best Command & Conquer games from a gameplay perspective. Like, legit. It has some of the most varied versions of the three factions, where each one plays very differently and feels very different, but they're all fun to play. Some of the most fun units to work with. The amphibious nature of being able to build on the water and the land shouldn't have worked, but it feels really fun. I love playing skirmish. I love playing co-op. I absolutely love from a gameplay perspective. RA3 was kind of a surprise to me and how much I enjoyed it. But as Plasma Drone says, the girls in RA3 are being pushed so much. I thought they were only in cutscenes. I was surprised when the loading screens showed them too. Yeah, the RA3 is very much of its time. It is very much a 2000s game. And that's the thing I don't like about it, is the tone, I think, is way too silly, way too dude bro in that regard. I don't know, Sumi, I think over-sexualizing female characters is a little icky. Maybe that's just me, but, you know. Although it does seem like the culture has kind of changed on that, so I feel like there are more people that agree with me now than they used to. But that wasn't the major part of my gripes with that game. The major part was the tone and the fact that, like, you know that the Red Alert 1 is my favorite Red Alert because it's the darkest. So Red Alert 3, what do you think I think of that tone? I can still shut my brain off and just enjoy it. Like, I'm not going to say that I didn't enjoy Tim Curry yelling space. I laugh every time. I quote that to my family all the time. Like, I can shut my brain off and enjoy it. I'm not going to pretend that I don't. But I'm also not going to pretend like RA1 is still not the tone I would want for all my Red Alert games if I had the choice. So, yeah, sneak peek on what I would say in the Red Alert 3 video essay. We'll get there. We'll get there. Ozzy says, lol, thanks, Cabal. There's more of a B than a... Oh, the way you spelled space, right. Cabal Core says, Mom only walks into the room with those load screen pictures. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I came from a big family, so lots of people walking in on me when I was playing games. I'm really glad. My parents would never let me have RA3 when I was younger. That was a game I played as an adult with my own room. Warhawk Rambo. Remember the RA3 Paradox mod? Very ambitious. I don't remember the Paradox mod. I'll have to look into that. Cabalasaur says they should have just put Tim Curry in all the other characters' outfits. I mean, I'd watch that. All right, I think this is the last mission I'm going to play. Unfortunately, I'm getting a little tired. And then we'll end the live stream. Again, any other questions you guys have? Any other questions you have about my thoughts on the lore, things on the channel, suggestions for future videos, questions about the second channel, anything at all? Now is your chance to ask them. Or, any questions about, the other friends of the channel that have helped out on other videos, feel free. And with that, we're going to start the last mission for this stream. If you guys like this one, I might do another stream and keep going through until we finish the GDI campaign. I would not be opposed to that. This has been super fun for me, and honestly, I've been super stressed lately, and this has been really enjoyable. Like, it's been very relaxing. I love talking with you guys. You guys have been super civil, super just nice, and I haven't had to kick any of you guys. You guys have been just awesome. You've all been very mature adults who still love this 30-year-old franchise. So I would love to do this again sometime. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to answer a few more questions before I start the next mission. Next live stream when? Good question. Let me know when you guys are free. Let me know if Saturday at 6 p.m. works for you guys, or if there's another time that works better. I could see myself doing another live stream like this in a couple of weeks. But yeah, let me know what times work for you. And I will see if I can work my schedule around it. Otherwise, if I'm feeling tired and life is just hitting me hard, I might just do 6 p.m. at Saturday again in a couple of weeks. Snufflegrunt, he'd be down for that. Rogue Dog. Hey, Rogue! Hey! Rogue is also part of the Super Challenge Bros channel. Shout out to them. They have passed me again in subscribers. They do Nintendo stuff on their channel. They're super cool. If that's your thing, if you love Nintendo, check out the Super Challenge Bros channel. That's where Aussie and Rogue do their thing. Aussie says, Snowman, we should do a Tiberian Twilight co-op match for the next live stream unless chat murders us for that suggestion. Oh my gosh. For today's execution, the Super Challenge Brothers. Oh gosh. Yeah, Snufflegrunt, you've been awesome. I can't believe you stuck it out this long at 4 a.m., dude. If I can find a better time that works for all of us, including you, I will. Again, no promises. Like I said, life has been hitting me like a jackhammer. But, bro, thank you for being here this long. I appreciate it. Let's see. Cabal says, same time as today works great for me. Keep up the great work, and I hope everything pans out for you IRL. Yes. I hope things go great for all of you IRL as well. Keep it in there. I don't know how many of you were commenting on that one community post I did where I first mentioned IRL troubles, but everybody that commented there was super nice and had nothing but kind things to say. Again, it's not often you find kind people on the internet, so thank you so much. You guys don't know what this channel has meant to me, being able to have this in the midst of everything else that's happening to IRL. It's the little things, guys. It's the little things. Luke Danger says, while we're on the map screen, one thing I love about the Tiberian Sun map is that it's not actually following national borders anymore. They're de facto gone. It's now spheres of influence of GDI and not. Yes! Okay, I'm glad, Luke, you brought this up. I was thinking about this yesterday when I was doing test live streams that were unlisted. We still see the borders of things like Mexico, Texas, Arkansas, all the states. And you make an excellent point, because a lot of people point to Command & Conquer 3 because they have a similar thing on their map screen where you can still see the borders of all the countries as we know them and all the U.S. states. But given the fact that we know for a fact that in Tiberian Sun, national borders are not a thing anymore and nations pretty much don't exist, I think that in Command & Conquer 3, they're pretty much almost the same thing. These are legacy map lines. These are, hey, this is what the world used to look like. We call this Texas because it used to be Texas, even though there is no political entity known as Texas anymore. Here's the border of what used to be Mexico, because that's the only way we could identify this landmass, but there is no political entity or government of Mexico anymore. It is purely just areas that are controlled by GDI and areas that are controlled by NOD, and the rest is anarchy or the Forgotten or what have you. I think that in CNC 3, there is some governments that have begun to become back, but I think they're mostly symbolic. GDI still basically is the de facto one world government. I think at Tiberian Sun, it was very much kind of a survival thing of we're the one world government because we're all that's left, whereas in CNC 3, they have a bit more administrative power and they're actually able to govern somewhat, at least in the blue zones. So, yeah, that's my take on that. Plasma Drone says, I can watch it even when I'm running the curry shop. Oh, you're running a curry shop, Plasma Drone? That's awesome. Used to have a curry place around where I lived, and then it closed after COVID, which is very sad. Warhawk Rambo says, it's almost 11 p.m. here on the East Coast. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to get better because, again, like, once work becomes, like, a lot more consistent, like, I'm probably going to get off at 5, and then I'm going to eat, and, like, 6 will be the first time I can. Although this is Saturday, so, like, I might be able to do it earlier. Yeah, if earlier works better for you guys, maybe I can do it at, like, 2 p.m. Pacific time, so it's a little less crazy for you guys, or, I don't know. Snufflegrunt says, I would have gone to bed just as you came online. Oh, Snufflegrunt, get some sleep. I appreciate you, but don't mess up your sleep schedule for me as someone who has trouble sleeping. Don't do that for me. Warhawk Rambo says, but I have a little to do outside my PC. Aussie says, I could stare at that oscillating green orb all day. It's mesmerizing. Luke Danger says, GDI also has people who want to rebuild what it used to be. Thus, they want to keep the old borders on there and maintain the resistance for a roll back to status quo and to Tiberian. Yeah, no, I imagine there's a lot of people who probably hold out hope that they can build the world as it was. Plasma Drone says, what do you mean it's Sunday over here? Oh my gosh, Plasma Drone, where are you?
It is highly probable that the Brotherhood will attempt to remove technology from
Don't tell me, by the way.
and
Don't
store it
don't
at
dox
the
yourself.
center. Locate and secure the crash site, then capture
Commander
the
64,
technology
welcome to the
center.
chat. Locate and secure the crash site, then capture the technology center. All right, last mission, guys,
Establishing
and then we're ending the stream.
standby.
If you have any other questions or things you want to talk about, now is the time. I actually have a base now, so I don't have to focus as much, so feel free to flood the chat with questions. Next time I'm having Aussie here in person so he can scroll through the chat for me. Gosh, I love the GDI dropships. Plasma Drone says, a failing country in Southeast Asia. Oh, sorry to hear that, buddy. Appreciate you being here, though.
Construction complete. New construction options.
Rip the train. Yep. I always found that funny as a kid, or maybe even a little depressing, the idea that, like, we went through all this trouble to get the train to, like, do a backdoor way in, and it just gets destroyed.
Construction.
I don't think I've ever played any of these missions, or very few of them, without doing the extra mission, so I don't really know what changes if you don't do the previous mission. Warhawk Rambo. All you had to do was follow the train, CJ. He's quoting Big Smoke, Aussie. It's one of your favorite video game characters. Cabal Core, that's the psychic damage for you. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Commander 64, good luck on your playthrough. I always find the hammer base level impossible to beat growing up. Can you show me how it's done? I always lose all my hovers and run on engineers. Ah, yes, the Hammerfest mission. I loved that mission as a kid. It was tough, but I loved it. And if you ever miss one of our live streams, I'm always going to keep the live streams up on the channel, so you can watch it again later if you miss it. I'm looking forward to the Hammerfest mission. No one's in here, right? I need space for my next Tiberian refinery. Yeah, Ozzy loves Big Smoke. Plasma Drone. Not Myanmar, though, but we're slowly heading there with the unrest happening here. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Stay safe, man. I always got to remind myself, as crazy as it gets here in the West, you know, at least it could always get worse. Which I realize is not as optimistic as that sounds. It's the little things, guys. Shemiel says, always love this mission. Yeah, me too. I love this mission.
Construction complete.
Alright, let's get another power plant and then wait for the money to pop in. Commander 64 says, no, don't hurt the civilians in their infrastructure. Well, fun fact, you'll notice that the civilian structures that actually have people in them are the ones that look like underwater domiciles with like the prefabricated buildings, whereas these buildings, these skyscrapers that look more like traditional 21st century buildings, are probably abandoned because they're not Tiberian proof. At least that's my headcanon.
Insufficient funds.
Shemiel says, GDI war crimes as usual. Okay, Greg Burdett. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Plasma Drone. But the curry shop is still running, though. My region's quite safe for now. That's good to hear, Plasma Drone. Love me some curry. Let's see. Aussie says, I'll have two number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large soda. Did you have to look that up, Aussie, or do you have that memorized? Rocket Rambo says, have you ever been fishing? No, I have not. Maybe someday one of my kids will like fishing, and then I'll get into it. But as of now, I don't really have any desire to get into that. Why, Warhawk Rainbow? Do you like fishing? Luke Danger says, do you ever sell the refineries? I found in Tiberian Sun that it's actually cheaper to build and sell a refinery. Plus you get light infantry. Firestorm fixed that, though. No, I've never done that. But also, this is the era of CNC where I like having all my buildings in a nice, neat rows. So, I don't always do the practical thing. I say as I destroy this tree so I can build my war factory exactly where I want it.
New construction options.
Thank you. Luke Danger says, build and sell a refinery is a cheaper way to get early harvesters. I will keep that in mind. But the buildings must be aligned. Rock Rainbow says, I love to fish. Awesome. Glad to know that at least one of us here touches grass, because I certainly do not. Oh, gosh. I need to get out more. I need to get back into running so I can maintain a healthier diet. I got a girlfriend now. I've got a future ahead of me. I actually got to start taking care of myself. Growing up is hard, guys. Being an adult is hard. But every now and again, I get to play Command & Conquer again and pretend that I'm 9 years old still. There's nothing to worry about except what might be for dinner and if it's something I like. And wondering what I'm going to build next with Legos. Simpler times, boyos. Commander 64. My favorite level is where you chase down the train after Hammerfest. I went when I was little. The only way I could get past Hammerfest was to have my dad beat it, lol. Yeah, no, I get that. Hammerfest was tough. You just have to be very careful with where you put the hover MLRSs. If you know the exact right pixel of where to put them, you can get everybody through without a problem. Which I'll show you probably in a future live stream. Also, I noticed in a lot of my comments for a lot of my videos, a lot of us have similar experiences of like our dads introducing us to this series and playing along with us. I very much had that experience. I just wonder, is that like extremely common for this series? Because like, how many of you also like enjoy playing this game with your dad? Plasma Drone says, on the subject of username, mine came from an ad of Plasma TV and an ad/news of drones next to each other from way back in the day. Interesting. Yeah, it's a cool username. Plasma Drone definitely gets stuck in the mind. Warhawk Rembo says, since we mentioned food, are you a fan of gyros? Absolutely. Gosh. Okay, I have not had Greek food in forever. Aussie, you and me. Next chance we get, let's go out for gyros. I I have not had Greek food in forever, and I could really go for a gyro. With lamb? Oh, lamb. Nobody in the West appreciates lamb as much as they should, but, like, lamb is the superior meat. Better than beef, better than chicken, and I love chicken. Let's see. Commander64 says, yo, Warhack Rambo got the best profile pic ever. I can't quite see what his profile pic is. Anybody want to describe it for me? My eyes are not what they used to be. Alright, let's see. Let's make 2 more harvesters, and then we'll start making our army. Plasma Drone says, Euros are cool, but very rare over here. Only found one when I was in college. Ah. Well, if you ever get the chance to eat more Greek food, give it a go. They got good stuff. Commander 60. Okay. Aussie says, love Euros. Oh, I forgot to save. Let me save. Snufflegrunt says, very common. I play with them all the time. Aw, that's super wholesome. Commander 64, yeah, my dad introduced me to Supreme Commander as well as Unreal Tournament.
Sir?
Dude, your dad sounds based as all get out. Way to go. Everybody's got cool dads here. Warhawk Rambo, GDI logo with a sword. Oh, that's sick. Luke Danger. Warhawk Rambo has the Tib Dawn GDI logo with a sword and laurel wings. Okay, yeah, I kind of see that now. Super cool. Plasma Drone says, lamb is the best. Yep. See, Plasma Drone gets it. He gets it. Snufflegrunt. Have a good rest of your day, and thank you for all the videos and surprise stream. Lamb is better than all. Thank you, Snufflegrunt. Have a good night's sleep. Appreciate you hanging with me as long as you did. Hopefully I can do streams at a better time for you. Aussie says, we can go out for Euros, but beforehand, let's get an exercise. Okay, well, let me get back into my running routine. Hopefully, oh yeah, we're getting Titans. Gotta start taking care of myself. Joe Young 95, welcome to the chat. He says, will you be playing Renegade X Firestorm in the future? I've been keeping my eye on that forever. I haven't even played the original Renegade X, but the idea of first-person Tiberian Sun is so freaking cool. If I do play it in the future, I'm probably going to play it either on a live stream or on the second channel when I make it. That's dedicated to playthroughs. Which is a good time to remind you guys, once again, this is a Q&A with HAC Snowman. This is the last mission I'm going to be playing before I stop for the day. Probably won't do another live stream for another 2 weeks. If you have any questions about future videos, the future of the channel, anything about me, friends of the channel, anything like that, now is your chance. Ask the questions. We will be stopping after this mission. Warhawk Rainbow says, I also love buffalo wings. Buffalo wings are great. Especially if you can get blue cheese sauce. Ooh. Ooh. Gosh, I'm so hungry. I'm going to make myself a sandwich when this is done. If you guys ever had Caesar salad dressing sandwiches, they're so good. My mom's recipe. I'm gonna make that as soon as this is done. Oh, Aussie says, oop, gotta go. See ya, Snowman. See ya, chat. Thank you, Aussie. Again, everybody give a hand out for Aussie. He's been great, helping me manage the chat. And he's got his own channel along with Rogue, the Super Challenge Brothers. Mostly handles Nintendo stuff. If you like Nintendo stuff, check out his channel. He's great. He's awesome. Super solid dude. Yeah, give him a hand. Okay. Shmuel says bye. Good to have you, Shmuel. Thank you for... I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but thank you. Whoop. Tick Tanks. Let's go. Sorry, Tick Tanks, but I have all the Titans. All your base belong to us. Alright, let's build some more Wolverines. And then, let's build some engineers as well. Okay. Warhawk Rambo says, I rang the bell for notifications. Thank you, Warhawk Rambo. Appreciate that. Again, once I make the second channel, so I move all the walkthroughs there, you won't be getting flooded with notifications because this channel will be just the video essays. So I hope to honor that. Luke Danger says, speaking of Renegade X Firestorm, how often have you listened to the music from the CNC mods? Sometimes I'll end up listening to that more than the original on YouTube. Not much. I have heard that certain mods have absolutely fantastic music. I think Twisted Insurrection has been mentioned a few times as having pretty great music. If you can recommend any mod soundtracks, let me know. I'm always looking out for new music. If any of you guys have heard of Epic the Musical by Jorge Rivera Herons, that's my hyper fixation right now. So I would love to get out of that addiction and listen to some new music, so let me know. Let's see. Commander 64 says, I used to play Red Alert 2 when I was in middle school. I played multiplayer and got betrayed by allies and bullied hard. Ooh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, I never really liked playing Red Alert 2 in skirmish mode or against actual people. The timers on the super weapons are way, way too fast.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Plasma Drone says, if you're able to get your hands on the Central Asian and Turkic food, especially Uzbek plav and tandoori samsa, are so good. The Duma llama meat are amazing. If I ever do, I will remember that. That sounds delicious. I really do need to expand my palate, and I'm kind of one of those guys that I find something I like and I just stick with it. Hence why I'm still playing Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun all these years later. But I would love to expand my palate. My girlfriend is very adventurous when it comes to food, so I'll probably only become more adventurous as time goes on. I need to explore more stuff like that. Luke Danger. Also, Renegade X's Firestorm's take on Lone Trooper is amazing, is immaculate, keeping all the reasons why it's GDI's theme and building on that. I will have to check that out. Warhawk Rambo, you a Mech Warrior or a Mech Commander fan? Battletech as a franchise is severely underrated. No, I think I played a little bit of Mech Warrior 5 because it was on Game Pass. But I never really got into the series, I'm sorry to say. On MS-DOS, I played the old Earth Siege games. Did anybody remember Earth Siege? Earth Siege 1 and Earth Siege 2. My older brother used to play that a lot. And hey, buddy, take a chill pill. We'll explore that for you. Now, let me save again. Yeah, does anybody remember Earth Siege? That was probably the extent of the mech games that I played when I was younger. I never got into Mech Warrior. I probably should. I love mechs. I think a lot of it is very intimidating for me because, for the love of Pete, dude. It was a little intimidating because it can be a little complicated to play, but I really should give it a go once I have more free time. Warhawk Rambo says, you on the spectrum too? I'm autistic. Oh, I'm flattered. No, as far as I'm aware, I am not on the spectrum. I have very dear friends who are. But no, as far as I'm aware, I am not on the spectrum. Appreciate you, though, being open with it. Michael Grodel, best unit voice lines in Red Alert 2? I'm probably going to have to say the Chrono Legionnaire. Their lines were always so unsettling and spooky, and I really loved how they just seemed very callous about the very existentially horrifying nature of their job. So I'm going to go with Chrono Legionnaires. But Yuri's Revenge also brought a lot more voice lines to things like the Prism Take and stuff, so... and I didn't play as much Yuri's Revenge growing up. That was more something I played as an adult. So I don't have as much of those lines at the forefront of my head. The Kurov has great voice lines. Vanquish. That's a cool name. Welcome to the chat. Tibsun is giving me a lot of nostalgia. I remember playing this game while playing The Sims 1 back when I was a kid. Yeah, there is not a single game in all of Command & Conquer that gives me more nostalgia than Tiberian Sun. There may not be a single game, period, that gives me more nostalgia than Tiberian Sun. The atmosphere of this game is peak. Warhawk Rambo says, I played ES in the 90s. ES? Earth Siege. Oh, you have played Earth Siege. Heck yeah. I have yet to have found another person who has played Earth Siege out in the wild, so... Awesome, dude.
New construction options.
Appreciate it. Oh, shoot. I forgot to defend my base.
Construction complete. Building.
Alright, I know I can go invade their base from here, but I just want to take this out so I can harvest the Tiberium, and then we go back the other way, because it's more fun. Shoot, why did I do that? I need to get on the tower. Yeah, Earth Siege was awesome. Eventually that became the Tribe series, which is also severely underrated, but I never really got into. Great series of games. Very nostalgic for me. I wish I could get Earth Siege 2 working on my computer. I've only been able to get Earth Siege 1 working through DOSBox.
Construction complete. Building.
Okay, let's see. Warhawk Rambo. I would love it if RA would let you weaponize the RA1 Chrono Vortex. That's a cool idea. I wish that too. Plasma Drone. Have you seen the concerts of Frank Klepak and the Tiberian Suns? They're on YouTube and they're all awesome. Yes, I have. Also, that is the most clever band name for them ever.
Complete.
Sir?
Oh, man. Yeah. One of my favorite things about posting the video essays was the debates that we had on, you know, how much is GDI to blame for switching to ecology and getting rid of their walkers? Is the complaints of the Yellow Zone patrons and what Nod says have any validity? Is GDI still a hero in the CNC3 era? Were they ever heroes? A lot of that discussion was really fascinating for me, and I really loved engaging with you guys on that.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear. You got it.
Yes, sir.
Also, a lot of people on my Red Alert 1 video weirdly trying to defend Stalin. If that's going to happen on every single one of my videos when I discuss a villain, I really don't ever want to cover Company of Heroes, if you know what I mean. Anyway. Let's see. Luke Danger says, a modernized component tower system where we can swap the turrets active would be fun. A bit micro-heavy, though, more so than the Empire VX Defender turrets. Yeah, I always felt like the component tower system was a little underbaked in this game. In the Tiberium Essence mod, which brings back component towers, they just straight up let you create a Vulcan cannon tower without having to build the component tower first, as well as the RPG and the AA thing, which is like, yeah, that why wouldn't that be a thing? I don't really know what the point of having the separate component towers is. It's a cool idea. I just a little underbaked, I think. I don't think they quite thought it out.
Waiting orders.
Oh, I see what you're saying, guys. You mentioned this in the chat earlier. You can actually destroy all of the civilian buildings, because I guess they're all Nod civilians. That's a little dark. I think as a kid I just destroyed them all because they were red on the map without a second thought of any of the implications.
Yes, sir.
Who's this goober? Is he trying to get... Oh, is this the guy that delivers the artifacts? Interesting.
I'm on it.
Okay. Let's see. Michael Grodel says, what is your opinion on Red Alert 2 Apocalypse Rising? That's the first-person sort of like Renegade for Red Alert, right? I haven't really explored that much, so not really any opinion on that. But it looks fun.
Loud and clear.
Gosh, I love the design of the Skrin ship. I love it.
You got it.
And I really do like the Skrin designs in Command & Conquer 3, but I do wish they adhered more to this look. Just a little bit more. Because it just... this reminds me of, like, the Aliens franchise, Terminator. Like, the design aesthetic is so unique and awesome, and I just wish... Gosh, this is my favorite look for the Skrin. Commander 64 says, I like Command & Conquer 3. I did too. I have my own little problems with it, but overall, I still really like Command & Conquer 3. I don't hate it. It's a good game. Maybe even a great game. And certainly with Kane's Wrath, it does become a great game. No question. No question. Warhawk Rainbow says, "Oh no, people who defend tyrants." Yeah, well,
Orders received.
what are you gonna do?
Loud and clear.
Let's go this way.
Loud and clear.
Joe Young 95. Only wish CNC3 showcased the units in the CDI much like how Tiberian Sun showcased the units. Yeah, who is shooting at me? Is there a tic-tac over here?
Site secure. Objective complete.
Nice.
Incoming transmission.
Sir, looks like they tore this place apart already. Must be getting ready to ship the artifacts out. We don't have much time.
Yes, sir.
I missed that too. All the little, like little cutscenes that you would get from the various soldiers on the ground.
Base under attack.
How did you make it here? Past my component towers.
Building.
Warhawk Rambo. Extremism, regardless of which side comes from, is bad. Agreed. Horseshoe theory, everybody. Horseshoe theory. Luke Danger. Or they're not field prefabs, which sort of like how armies in the past would set up a bunch of tents. Good point. Good point. Whatever helps me sleep at night. Thank you, Luke.
Construction.
After all, it makes sense for a habitation only to be the same between civilian and military when the military is pumping them out in mass. Very true. Very true. Not every soldier can stay in the immaculately designed Hand of Nod. As much as we'd like to. Okay. Did I? Yeah, I did. Commander 64. Is the ship even Skrin? The Tacitus isn't, despite it being also alien. You're right. Technically, this is a really weird plot point, but technically, this Skrin ship was not made by the Skrin. It was made by Nod, according to Skrin designs revealed to them from the Tacitus. At least that's what it's revealed to be in the Nod campaign, which it's hard to tell how much of that is canon, but most people accept that to be the canon. Nevertheless, it is still a Skrin design. And it has been, I think it's pretty much one-to-one from the schematics, because if you look at the Nod Banshee, that clearly has had Nod aesthetic changes. Yeah, the Tacitus, it's implied, is not necessarily from the Skrin, but another alien civilization. If I remember correctly from the CNC Bible that was created around the same time Tiberian Sun was, it's Westwood's original thought was that the Tacitus came from a civilization that had tangled with the Skrin before and was utterly decimated. And these aliens decided that they were going to compile everything they knew about Tiberium, because basically they were in the same situation we were. They had their planet seeded with Tiberium, and then after it almost took them over, they were invaded by the Skrin, just like what happened in Tiberium Wars. So they basically compiled all of their research on Tiberium and how to stop it, and everything they did onto the Tacitus, and sent it to Earth, because they knew that we were the next closest habitable planet. And so they were, well, our civilization is lost, but maybe we can help them. So that's why the Tacitus has information like the sonic ability and the resonant frequency to break down Tiberium and other secrets, and a warning of a future Skrin invasion, because it was compiled by an alien civilization that was once also the victim of Tiberium and the Skrin. Which, again, that's from the CNC Bible that was created by Westwood on Tiberian Sun, so it is unsure how canon that is, but I think that makes everything make so much sense, and I don't think it contradicts any of the canon we know, so that's my personal headcanon. Okay. Plasma drone. Vega had a joyride with the ship while on crack. Warlocracy made a video essay about it. Warlocracy. I don't know that channel. I know most of the CNC YouTubers, so I have to check them out. Commander 64. Steel Talons, my beloved. Yes, indeed. Luke Danger, funnily enough, there's only a few of the little cutscenes. Only 3 for GDI. We saw 2, plus 1 in the last mission, and 1 for Nod. We need more Metaproc. You are right. There's only a few of those. I wish there were more. I wish they continued to show up in the newer games. Kane made the ship. Yes, he did. Commander 64, I want a flipped mission for the first few Nod missions playing as the blue Nod loyalist. That would be cool. If anybody out there are modders, get on that. That would be super fun. I would love to play as Hassan. Michael Grodel. Anyway, random mod idea I found of Reddit for Red Alert 1 CNC White Alerts. I don't know what that means.
Yes,
sir. Commander 64, this lore talk is so nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. That's been, I said it before, this is one of the joys of having this channel, is being able to talk CNC lore with a bunch of people who are also interested in it. Alright, get up here, guys.
Sir, you got it.
Commander 64 says, outside of the last GDI mission, is there other first Tiberian War GDI bases?
Yes, sir. On my way.
I don't know if there are bases. There are some mammoths that show up in some of the forgotten missions in the GDI campaign from the first Tiberian War. And then in the first GDI mission, we come across a Nod Tiberian Dawn base, but I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't know if I remember any other aspects of that. Warhawk Rambo. Michael Rule, care to elaborate?
Orders received. Moving out. On my way. Moving out.
Gosh, I love the way the Tiberium looks, mixing with the green and the blue.
Yes, sir.
Also, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but in Tiberian Dawn, in a lot of the cutscenes, there are things like you can see early versions of the Veinhole monsters. You can see, like, Tiberium slowly poisoning and overcoming small Eastern European towns.
Moving out.
I just love the idea that, like, Westwood seemed like they were very clear that they knew exactly where they were going to go, and Tiberian Sun was always going to be the state the planet was going to get into at some point. And I just love the idea that they had a plan the whole time. And just, it reframes all of Tiberian Dawn in a completely different light when you consider that
No problem.
all of the media and all of the spotlight is on the war between GDI and these terrorists, when meanwhile the actual thing that's going to destroy the planet has been happening in the background the whole time. And nobody seems to care because war. I just always thought that was super cool.
Affirmative.
Alright, we're going to save.
No problem.
Technology center captured. Objective complete.
Here we go. Oh, this cutscene! This cutscene! Oh, okay, everyone quiet, everyone quiet. Here we go. Heck yeah. Still my favorite cutscene, maybe in all of CNC. So good. Alright. Let's see. Warhawk Rainbow says, I love the look and feel of this game. Me too, Warhawk. Me too. Commander 64, I have a good challenge idea. Legacy preserved, repair the old GDI base, and keep all the mammoths alive. Not a bad idea. I might do that when I get to the final level. Luke Danger, love hearing your takes on the CNC lore. Thanks for hosting us tonight. Hope things go well for you IRL, Snowman. Thank you. Thank you very much. You guys have been super supportive. I hope all of you guys have had a good time with this stream. I hope I've been entertaining. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. And again, like I said, this has been actually surprisingly relaxing and fun for me. So I'll probably do this again in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much. Michael Grodel, ever thought of doing CNC challenges such as Deathless or Infantry only? It's an idea. Like I said, I generally like to play Command & Conquer and just to relax and get away from the stresses of real life. So self-imposed challenges is probably something I'm not going to do. I'm already kind of doing that when I'm playing on normal for the first time, because as a kid I always play these campaigns on easy. Because as I said before, easy in the 90s is today's normal. So, yeah. Luke says, that's a Temple of Nod in the background when the Titans are locking onto the laser turrets. It is? I'm going to have to go back and look at that. I have literally never noticed that before. Warhawk Rambo, live long and prosper, everyone. Yes, indeed. All right, that's going to be it thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all your questions. I'm going to try my best to get my life together in the next month or so and hopefully get those videos out to you guys. I really appreciate all your support, and hopefully you're patient with me until there's new videos. Thank you guys for watching. Welcome back, Commanders.